from your active.
My what?
Hello everyone, and welcome to the Rookie Critic YouTube channel. Today, I'm going to be reviewing a Starfire comic book. But before I get into that, I'm going to tell you how I ended up with this book in my hands. So another YouTuber, Popefire, she suggested that I read a Starfire book, and she more specifically suggested that I read the new Teen Titans, and as I was looking on Amazon for stuff, because I don't have any comic book anywhere near me right now, I was putting things into my cart and into the wish list, and I accidentally put this into the cart and the new Teen Titans into the wish list, and because I didn't know what type of book this was, it said Starfire, so I put it in there, and I ended up getting this one instead. Whoops! I informed Popefire that I got the wrong comic book, and she's like, "Oh no, not that one. Just know that Starfire's a good character. She's actually really good. Don't listen to that book." So I'm like, "All right, fine, okay, that's cool, but I'll still give this a chance. I'll still give it a shot because I'm still new to comics, so it's still kind of, I think it's good if I see the best and worst regardless." So with all of that out of the way, let's start reviewing the comic book. So this book is about how Starfire has been on Earth for a little while, mostly mingling with other superheroes, and she kind of just wants to learn how to assimilate with other humans. She doesn't really want to be a superhero all the time, so she just wants to be a human for a little bit. So she talks with Superman for a little bit, and he gives her a little bit of advice, and she goes to try to find a job, find a house and everything. She goes to some tropical island and finds this girl, Sheriff Gomez, who helps her get a shelter, tries to get her a job, get her some new clothes, all that whole shebang. And that's basically the main story that's going on, but throughout this whole event of trying to get her to assimilate with humans and just live a normal life, there's always other events that go on. There's this cheetah monster, Chida. I don't know how you'd pronounce that. Cheetah, Shkahida, Haida, I don't know. There's a guy that can take away people's cancer, but then that kind of stops, and then he turns into a bad guy, and there's another guy who's a bounty hunter that's hired from another galaxy to go to Earth and try to get her. And I feel like maybe this book is just supposed to set up this whole issue or this whole series. I don't know what you'd call this, because this whole thing seems to kind of be an introduction, like a pilot, because not much happens, but a lot kind of happens. Now let me tell you about Starfire in this book. The only version of her that I've seen before this was in the Teen Titans show from over a dozen years ago, and she is very different than this Starfire, I'll tell you that. The one from the TV show was more like a teenager, like 16 or so, and very much more innocent than this one, I would say, and way less sexualized. But anyway, let's get into that. So this Starfire is drawn very sexually. We can see that there, which surprised me when I saw this, and people told me that this is more of an SJW style comic, because SJWs don't usually draw sexuality or boobs or anything, because they usually don't want the focus to be on how cute they are. But her appeal and the women that are drawn in this have that type of appeal, but a normal appeal. It's not overdone, but they do point it out quite a bit, especially with Starfire. Everybody's like, "Wow, you're like an angel," and it's soft stuff. And they have a few jokes that are actually kind of funny with her in it. I'll admit, this book isn't as bad as I thought it would be, but the beginning is just kind of the worst. And now I feel like I'm just going over the place. Anyway, back to Starfire. She seems to be kind of like Drax from Guardians of the Galaxy, where she doesn't really understand sarcasm or humor all that well. Like where Drax would, take everything as literal. She is just trying to figure out what they mean. Like if somebody says, there's a part where somebody says, I'll give you 3 big ones. And she's picturing like big elephants because she's thinking about the planet. She's like, "Oh, those are big animals on the planet." And they're like, "Oh, where do you put it?" "Oh, yeah, you could put it in your pocket or in a bank or whatever." And she's thinking of a bank down by the river, or shoving these giant elephants into her pockets, which, for a comic, I guess that's kind of funny. There's jokes like that throughout the whole thing that don't take away from what's going on. So there is some laughs in here. There are some good jokes. One of my favorite lines in this is she's at a party and talking to a guy, and he's talking about some stuff, trying to, have some conversation with her, have some charm. And then she's like, oh, well, I got one too, and it's, work sucks, life is unfair, cheers to the women with the thong underwear. And I don't know why, but that is just so funny. And then she proceeds right afterward to go, could you tell me what kind of underwear is the thong kind? Oh man, gold. This is definitely a different style of comic compared to the other few that I've read so far, and it's, like I said, it's not horrible. The beginning was kind of tough to get through because, me not knowing as much about anything that's going on, I'm just introduced to a few heroes. They show the Red Arrow, Robin, some chick that looks like Daphne from Scooby-Doo, and they're all just kind of talking randomly about what they would do if they were to start their lives over or to start off again. Apparently they're talking to Starfire, even though she's not in any of those panels, and then they cut to her on a rooftop talking to a bird, so I don't really know what they're doing there, but she obviously talked to them, I assume. I assume that she was also part of the Teen Titans. I don't know. I know that in the TV show she was, but in this she seems to be an adult or like an 18-year-old teenager. I have no idea how old she is in this, but whatever. The character, Sheriff Gomez, is probably my favorite one in this book because she just seems to just be, working her daily grind and her regular life. And then this chick just flies in and she's like, okay, well, Superman exists, so we're aware of superheroes and stuff, but alright, I guess this is going to be my day today. And she's like, okay, I'll just find you a home, get you some clothes, whatever, help you find a job, no problem. And then all these other events keep on happening throughout the thing, and one of her best friends turns out to be a superhero and fighting this huge, cheetah monster that's a huge red guy and eats flesh and whatever. There's some huge backstory with that they try to go into a little bit, but it's just kind of played for comedy. And at some point, she's been going throughout this whole thing just casually, like, oh, well, this is normal, oh, this is normal, oh, this is normal, and at the end of the battle with the cheetah monster, she's like, oh, what the hell's wrong with you guys? And they're like, what, are you mad or something? And she's not understanding sarcasm or anything, and she's like, can I freak out now? I went from going this today, and then you drop in, and then there's a hurricane, and there's all these things happening, there's this monster that comes in, there's people dead on a ship, there's this, that, and this, and the other, and she's just like freaking out in that panel, and then Starfire, so naive, she's like, oh, you need a big hug, and then just, she and the other superheroine just hug her, squish her, and she's like, I'm gonna kill you both. She's like, and then Starfire goes, that's impossible, and they just smile and hug. This is fun. It's just like, I don't know, it was a little funny moment, because she's just flipping out about all this alien thing. Starfire makes out with a dolphin. There's only a few fight scenes in this, but, I'm not going to skip over the dolphin thing. She apparently has the power to, when she kisses somebody, she can learn their language through that, which I guess gives her an excuse to kiss a guy or a chick or anything. So, I mean, that's cool. I'm not complaining about that power. That's kind of cool. She can fly. She's got, light bolts that kind of shoot out of her hands for some reason, and she's super strong, kind of like Superman, but her race is of peaceful people. She says that her home of Tamaran is full of very peaceful people, and yet when she was captured to be a slave, she just kind of unlocked this power within her and helped escape with other people. I don't know, that's just a backstory. There's one image that I found to be really cool in one panel where she's got one tear going down her eye. There's like a glimmer in it. One side of her face is kind of shaded, and she is angry. She just is like, yeah, I'm gonna do some damage here. And it kind of, because she's pretty much, let Lou ditsy da, la-di da da, and then there's finally a moment where she's like, no, I'm feeling something here, big time, and it's going down. And I kind of like that. I wish that there was more with that. I do wish that there was a scene in here where she was vulnerable in some way. There's not that many action scenes. There's a few things. There's some moments of action, I suppose, or some moments of suspense, but, you're not really that worried about it, I suppose. The other characters aren't all that important. The only one, like I said, that I liked is Gomez, and then there's the other superheroine girl that I don't even really remember her name, but she can control the Earth and is from an underground society. DC fans will probably know what that is, but I don't really know. I will admit that by the end of the book, I am kind of curious to see what happens next, because in this one it seemed like it was more building her up, like maybe a 17-year-old girl would like this, because it, shows some maturity, I suppose, but, other people that are into other superhero comics, I don't really think it would be for them because not much of that is in there. It's really just kind of following her trying to be a human, and it's, there's some funny moments here and there, which is mostly it. But if they actually go further into the series and she fights, and she has some peril where she's like, actually in danger and there's drama happening, then maybe that'd be interesting. But this one's more like, I don't really know. It's just not really my type. I don't know if I'd say that this is worse than the X-23 book or not. I would say that this one, I'm not going to think about it ever again. Like, it's not going to be on my mind at all, as to where, like, Lone Star was. I kind of thought about that a little bit from time to time. I'm like, yeah, that one was kind of cool, and it'd be kind of cool to see something else happen and whatnot. Like, when you like a product, you like to think about it a few times. So, with this one, I don't really think I will, but for Popefire, addressing you, I know that you don't want my impression of Starfire to be tainted by this, but don't worry, I'm going to actually buy the new Teen Titans right now. Alright, and it is on its way. It should be here by Saturday, hopefully. So, sometime next week, I'll have read the new Teen Titans. So, maybe my impression of Starfire and the Teen Titans and everything will be different in that, but yeah, if she's completely different in that one, I would not be surprised, because this feels like a completely different version anyway, because the version I saw in the show, it was way different. That's basically all that I have to say. Again, I apologize if I seemed very sporadic in my review, because I just don't have a format for this type of thing. I don't want to write out a script when I'm just giving my opinion on a comic book. I hope that you guys like it. Let me know what you think. Give me some suggestions for comic books that I should read down in the comments, and have a good rest of your day, everybody. Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, please like, share, subscribe, notify, or comment. You can contact me at the links to social media below. For more awesome content, check out the Fandom Collective YouTube channel, where my buddies and I rotate every week posting content. And while you're at it, check out these other rising content creators.